Hey, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It is June 2nd, Friday, 7 a.m. New York time. And we are finishing out our first full week of trading our 10K funded account with Bespoke Funding today. We have one more week to next week, and then we get our first payout. We're taking this thing all the way to $2 million in funding by the end of 2023. And very happy about the way things are going right now. We will basically be getting our first payout almost 1 month to the day from starting phase one, which is really cool. Bespoke does 14-day payouts, and they just changed their rule where every challenge, once you're funded, is your first payout is 14 days. It was originally, I think when they started, it was a 30-day payout, and then it went to 14 days. But they have since, I think even just this week, changed it to 14 days that's just when you get your first payout. So literally within, under a month, you could be getting your first payout on a funded account with Bespoke Funding. So it's very cool to see. Hey, Corey, welcome in. Jack, good morning, guys. Xanax, how you guys doing, man? Good to see you guys in here. NFP Day is today. So, it's going to be fun to watch what happens when those numbers come out here in about an hour and a half. But, man, the account's doing great. We're sitting at 2% right now. Super happy about that. Taking 2 trades, and we've called out another one, but it didn't get triggered yesterday. Unfortunately, it just ran off without us, and that happens. Sometimes price just does not come back to your entry, and that's okay. If you don't get your entry, you don't care. Like, you get your price on your trade, and price is either going to get to where you want it to go, and it's going to trigger you in, or it's not. It's going to run away and go wherever it wants to go, and it's fine, because every day we're here, and every day the market is potentially going to give us an A+ setup. And there's enough of them that do get triggered that we're going to make plenty of money. You don't need to worry about that. Good morning, brother. Maverick, welcome in, man. Is that Maverick FX from over on Twitter that we were DMing together yesterday? If that's you, man, welcome in to the stream. I was a little late getting on today because I was working on putting some tweets together. So I schedule out my tweets in the mornings so that they kind of just run consistently all day, and I don't have to sit here. I'm about time freedom. I want to have the time on my hands to do what I want to do, and I don't want to have to constantly be managing stuff. That's why I love trading, because I can sit at the charts for typically by 10 o'clock in the morning. 11 o'clock in the morning, my time, which would be noon lunch on New York. I'm done with anything I'm doing with trading. Oftentimes, even before that, I've gotten in and out of a trade, made profits, and I'm done. And with Twitter and everything over on there, I have a scheduling software that I use that I can just write up all my tweets. And I was working on a tweet thread, and I just got into it. And I lost track of time here, and I looked up. I was like, oh my God, it's already after 7 a.m. Eastern. So I had to quickly just kind of put that aside and get everything set up here real quick. So I apologize for getting on here a little bit later, but I was just struck with inspiration writing a thread about the risk of trading as a career versus the risk of working a 9 to 5, and how we're taught from birth that the least risky option for you in life is to trade all of your time. The best part of your time in life is to be traded for a guaranteed, quote unquote, guaranteed paycheck that ultimately barely makes ends meet for the vast majority of people, and is definitely never going to be enough to change your life or the future of your family's life. And that's what we're taught, is that that's normal and that's what you should pursue in life. That's what you should do, and you should be happy with it, and there's no risk in that. And it's just it's one of the biggest lies over the last 150 to 200 years that we've taught, generation after generation. And I believed it. I was raised that way. It's what I did. I went to school, got a degree, and have traded the vast majority of the best years of my life working paycheck to paycheck to make other people rich. And you want to talk about the risk involved with that is incalculable risk to your family and your family's future. And anyway, I'm right. I was working on a thread on that could come out later today, and that's just what was going on. So, Maverick, yeah, we've been talking Twitter. Appreciate the advice you've given me and the tweets you share. $50 on my challenge. Good job, man. In the past, I would keep taking so many trades and end up losing the challenge. So now I'm working on discipline. Yeah, discipline, man. Discipline, self-discipline, and patience. They're really the most underrated things that no one talks about when you're learning how to trade. Self-discipline and patience. The vast majority of the time people are failing. It's not because of their strategy. It's because of their lack of self-discipline and their impatience that causes them to keep failing all these challenges. So that's what I preach over here on this stream every single day. So yeah, but yeah, Jack, you're right, man. Trading gives a purpose. Even if it takes 10 years, you're exactly right. Totally, man. It doesn't matter how long it takes. It's better to take 10 years to learn how to trade and become profitable than it is to spend 50 years working your butt off from the time you're 20 years old and ending up with hoping that you end up with more money at the end before you die. Like, that's just sad. Work your butt off, try to save, retire, and then try to outlive your money that you worked 40 years to save. Are you serious? Like, why did we believe that that's a good idea? Why did we believe that? It's mind-boggling to me. Hey, Steven, welcome in, man. Good morning. Once I realized what trading could do, and I've looked at all kinds of side hustles. I've looked at everybody. That's why when you get on YouTube or Twitter or Instagram or TikTok, you're inundated with the newest side hustle. People are always trying to find something else to add just a little bit more income to their life because what they're doing is not enough. What they're doing is not enough. So my search for side hustles went all over the place. I tried everything. But then once I realized what trading can do, it's literally the best business in the world. You have no customers. You have no employees except yourself. You have no inventory. You don't have to sell a damn thing. You can do business anytime you want. You cannot do business if you don't want to. And you have absolutely unlimited earning potential. Unlimited earning potential. It's scalable. I mean, there's so many reasons why this is the best business to pursue. But I looked at a bunch of them. I mean, running marketing agencies online for people, running social media accounts online for people. What's the other things that are popular right now? Affiliate marketing, drop shipping. There's so many. And this had all of those other things are dependent on someone else buying something from you. Every single one of them is you have to build a customer base, you have to build a product, you have to provide a service. And when people stop using your service or your product, you're screwed. And in trading, the product and service is the market. And the market exists 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. It's literally open. And if you trade crypto, you could trade 7 days a week. I would be dumb. There's no point in that. Like, you have no life at that point. But what I'm saying is that this is the best business in the world, man. And when you learn it and when you get that fire in your bones for trading and you realize what can be achieved, then yeah, you're willing to put in any amount of time that you need to get there. The problem is that people try to rush the process and they think that they can do this fast, and they treat it more like a casino and they gamble than they do treat it like a business, and actually put themselves in a positions to consistently be profitable. And so they see the opportunity for unlimited earning potential, and they're like, I could have that in the next 3 months. And the likelihood of that happening is near zero, because I've yet to meet someone who has never doesn't know how to trade and then 3 months later is just consistently profitable and making massive returns. Now, there are people that can get lucky, and like I've said before, being lucky is the worst thing that could happen to a brand new trader. It's the absolute worst thing in the world that could happen to a brand new trader. Uh, so stick with it, guys. Stick with it. If you're here and you're struggling to pass challenges and you're struggling to even get a payout yet, or maybe you've gotten one payout and then you just can't get back to it, don't give up. You can only fail at this if you just quit and walk away. You can get over this hurdle. You can. Okay? It is very possible to do, and there's nothing else more worth it in the end than when you finally get to that place where you can live off of this, and not just live but thrive off of this. You can do it. So that's why I'm doing this channel, is when I was going through the failure and I was going through the learning process, and I was jumping from strategy to strategy. I was hopping from mentor to mentor, from paid group to signal providers, to indicators, to everything. There was no one willing to get online every single trading session and sit and talk through what's happening live for free. And often, even in these paid groups, they're not sitting there every single trading session and walking you through everything and talking you through emotionally what's happening and how you feel and what you're thinking. And I so wish, as I think back to what could have helped me get to where I am quicker, because it's not quick. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter even if I'm doing this. If you're just now starting, this is not a quick process. You're still going to have to learn, and you're still going to lose, and you're still going to fail. But the curve, the learning curve, the steep learning curve that most traders are trying to climb right now, it can be flattened. It can absolutely be flattened. It does not have to be as steep and long as most people make it. And that's why I started this channel, is to show those people who are consistently failing challenges, not reaching profitability, not to be a signal service. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm not here to teach you and just drop everything in your lap that you have to do nothing. Okay? I'm here to model. My goal is to model what it looks like to be a patient, disciplined trader who executes and follows their trading plan and system as closely to perfection as I can, being patient, and then how to manage trades, how to manage risk, and then how to stack accounts. And then once these accounts are stacked to high six figures and seven figures, even with this specific challenge, pulling out 2 to 3% every couple weeks on a $2 million account is going to be in 1 month. You're going to be making much more than you were probably making in an entire year at your 9 to 5. And it can be done. It is not a fairy tale. Okay, it can be done. And so yes, you're gonna see where I take trades, and yes, I'm being as transparent and as authentic about every single position that I take. I'm telling you my exact entries and where I'm putting my stop losses, where my take profits are. I'm giving you all of that. But the point there is not to and I know the danger. The danger in that is that it provides a crutch, and you're just hanging around trying to find a signal because you can't do the work yourself, and you don't want to do the work yourself, and you're tired of trying to learn. And so if I can just find somebody that will drop out and give me that trade signal, then I don't ever have to do anything. And I understand the danger in that. And at some point, maybe I stop posting those trade entries because you need to learn how to do this yourself. But I'm not changing anything. I'm not going to change anything I'm doing. I'm honestly, I'm doing this so that after it's done, people can't say, he faked it, he photoshopped it, he whatever, it's all hindsight or whatever. So I'm basically doing it for proof of concept that no, this actually happened live, and I'm here every day doing it. And here's all the trades, here's all the receipts, and I showed that it could be done, basically. So I know I'm ranting and riffing a little bit here as we get started, but man, I don't know. I just woke up this morning with this extra kind of fire in my belly about the love that I have for what I do, and the frustration that I'm getting from people in my DMs, people that I totally can relate to and empathize with because I understand the emotional trauma that comes with not being able to consistently be good at this business. And I just want to encourage people. I really do. I want to do this to encourage people to not give up. Don't quit. You can do this, and it can change your life. And it's going to take time, okay? This is going to take a long freaking time. You can do this, and this can happen. And we're not going to get there in a month. You're not going to get there in 3 months. You could get there in a year. I mean, it can happen. But this is what it looks like. Sitting down at the charts every single day. This is what, if you want to be a trader, eventually this YouTube channel is going to go away. Eventually you're going to figure out, and if you can become consistently profitable, this is what it looks like. You're sitting here every single day at the charts, and you're waiting an hour or 2 hours for a potential setup to appear. And then it may appear, and then you might not get triggered in, and then there's no trade that day. We've been trading for 5 days on this funded account. We've taken 2 trades, and one of those trades shouldn't have even been taken. It was a mistake that it got entered. Okay, so really we should have only had 1 trade. In 5 days, this whole week, we really only should have had 1 trade. We were fortunate to get 2. We were fortunate that mistake worked out in our favor. You can go back and watch the channel, I think it was yesterday, where we talked about all the mistakes and how that all got broken down. But a whole week has gone by, and we've had 1 trade. And it was a loss. So this is what real trading looks like, y'all. This is how it plays out. And you have to understand that in the end, when you become consistently profitable at this, it's boring as hell. Now I love watching charts form. I love watching candles print. I love seeing how the market's going to move. I love the technical analysis. I love trying to identify the bias and the draws on liquidity and anticipating what's going to happen next. And it's just fascinating to me. So I don't get bored when I do this. But if you're doing it by yourself and you don't have a YouTube channel to watch and you just wake up every day and you go sit down in an office or wherever it is that you're trading at, and there's nothing else going on and there's nobody else sitting by your side and there's nobody else to talk to and there's nothing else to keep your attention going with this, it's so easy to get bored and then make stupid decisions. And you need to learn that this is what real trading is. It's sitting here and being patient and being quiet and being bored most of the time. Most of the time. So if you until you can get okay with that and comfortable with that and find other ways to fill your brain space while everything's playing out during your trading session, it could be your road to success may be a lot longer if you're not good and comfortable with that. So anyway, that's probably enough riffing today. There's not the reason I'm spending a little bit more time talking right now is because we've got NFP coming out in about an hour, and so there's not going to be any trade. I promise you, there's not going to be a trade set up before NFP. And even if there was, I'm not going to take it before NFP because that's just stupid. So many accounts get blown. It's just complete gambling with a big, massive red folder news event within another hour. My trade setups typically take a minimum of 20 to 30 minutes to set up by the time you have liquidity identified, a liquidity grab, a move in the opposite direction, and then an entry triggered. I mean, it's going to take a long time. So there's absolutely no way we're going to take a trade today before NFP comes out. But NFP could provide the volatility we need to see a liquidity grab and then displacement in the opposite direction. So we'll break all that down here in a minute, but got some stuff coming on up here in the chat. I'm just kind of talking back through here. Corporate world conditioning, cooperate world conditioning. I don't know if you mean corporate world conditioning, but yeah, we are completely world conditioned into getting sucked into that 9 to 5 rat race, man. Jack asks if you could go back to your unprofitable self, what's 3 bits of advice you would give? Man, there's so many. But if I had to pick 3 is, probably the self-discipline and patience are the most important things you need to work on. Not your strategy, not your risk management, not your trading plan. Patience and self-discipline. Fix those things first. Hey, Beeswax, welcome in. Stephen Allen, gold, do you consider a breaker the 15-minute candle from 5? I don't know. We'll take a look at that in a minute, Stephen. We'll see. And I hope you guys are here for the long haul. Because if I can, I don't know whether there are like 10, 11 people watching this stream. I think on average we're getting between 10 and 20 people in here every day right now. Dude, if I could change 10 or 20 people's lives by showing them how to do this consistently, and then they turn around and they help 10 or 20 people change their lives, we can change the world together. We can change our families' legacies together. So maybe that'll happen. I hope it. I know it's possible. So we'll just have to wait and see. So yesterday, let's get into some charts and analysis here. Let's talk through what happened yesterday and what we were expecting to happen and how did that play out. Well, yesterday we were expecting this draw on liquidity. Down here on the dollar, we were expecting some dollar weakness as we headed into the weekend and NFP and the start of the new month. We identified this as being our draw on liquidity, and then these lower time frame retests of fair value, inverted fair value gaps and volume imbalances down here. We traded off of if you hop up here to the weekly time frame, we traded off of this order block right here. Turn this stuff off. We traded up into and off of this daily order block and filled in this weekly fair value gap and volume imbalance up here. And now we're retracing. You see we're still inside this dealing range, so we haven't made a new high and we haven't made a new low off of this weekly time frame. So this is just, we're just stuck inside this big weekly box of morass inside the dollar. Now that's a big, huge area when you consider the weekly time frame. So don't get too bent up about, oh, we're just in a consolidation. I mean, technically on a weekly time frame we are. On the monthly, you can see we've had this big, massive run up. We've now pulled back, reached into this fair value gap, and this monthly fair value gap on the dollar time frame has held and acted as some support. And now in May, we saw this big rally back up. May just ended. June is opened. And if June is going to want to go higher, you can remember it doesn't like to leave fair value gaps behind. The high of April is right here. And so perhaps June would come in and not leave a fair value gap here and want to find a low of the month somewhere right around here. And so we're anticipating of June, if the dollar is going to continue to be bullish, which we don't know if it is yet or not, but if it is, it could potentially find its bottom somewhere inside of where it currently is and the April high. And then perhaps for the rest of June, you get a deep run up into this monthly volume imbalance and inside of this large sell side imbalance here. So that's kind of what we were anticipating, why we were anticipating lower prices as we started into the month of June. And then let me turn this back on. And so here we are on our daily time frame. And let me zoom in here so we can see what we're talking about. So you can see we traded up inside this this volume imbalance, this daily volume imbalance. We were inside this order block. We're inside of this OTE Goldilocks zone from this large retracement down. And so we reached all the way up into there. We hit our upside our profit targets, or price targets for the dollar, and we were expecting a retrace. Now we're back down inside this daily bullish order block. And so it's going to be interesting to see how this week plays out. You've got this weekly fair value gap that we're inside of right now. It's at the very top end of that range. It acted at resistance here, traded up through it, and now it's come back. And will this weekly fair value gap act as now support an inverted fair value gap for our dollar, the US dollar? We'll see. But we are inside this bullish order block. And so if price is going to remain bullish, it will respect bullish order flow. Bullish order flow means that we're making higher highs and that any retraces, price is respecting fair value gaps and down close candles. And so here we see a big run up, big run up, big run consolidation, and now a retrace. It's going to be interesting to see how price holds inside this. Does NFP drop the dollar down? Do we close down here below this today? I mean, that would be a massive move for the dollar to reach that low. Potentially it comes in here and it could pull back up. If it closes somewhere inside of here today, it's going to leave a large volume imbalance here. That will be interesting to see for next week, excuse me. But here's our swing low. Until the dollar closes back below here, we're bullish. This is a higher time frame. But you can have a higher time frame bias. But so we're in an uptrend, okay? And we're now at this order block, this daily order block right here. We have closed in this fair value gap, and we actually have traded through it and below it. And so it has violated this daily fair value gap right here. The next area, the next big PD array that we want to see what does price do is how does it respond to this daily order block, this swing low level, and this fair value gap from on the weekly time frame. Does it want to now come back? Is this going to act as a support to continue to push price higher? All right. I don't have a really true grasp. I still think the dollar could be weaker here. And maybe NFP runs back up into some of these imbalances that it left yesterday here on our 4-hour time frame. We have liquidity up here, internal liquidity that it may want to provide efficient price action for. We only had sell side delivery. Pretty much yesterday's just sell side delivery. And so price wants to be efficient. Price wants to provide efficient delivery. And so it's going to want to return. The question is which fair value gap does it return to? Does it come all the way back up here into these order blocks? This is your 4-hour order block right here, and then you have a break of structure right here. So I don't know if it gets back up there today. I don't know. Maybe that's later on next week as we get into June a little bit more. If we're going to remain bullish on the dollar, you could potentially see today coming down into here. Maybe there is a retest of this area here today. Maybe there's not, but we're going to have to watch and wait and see. But if it breaks this, again, this is that daily swing right here. This is the daily swing level. And if it closes down below here, that would be a break of structure on your daily trend. And we would have to be, cautious going into next week on your dollar bullishness if it breaks and closes below here today. But you do have you do have some internal liquidity. I'm going to take this off. We know that was our anticipation yesterday for the dollar right there, and it just traded right through it. So we were correct in our anticipation on the dollar and on foreigns. We actually had a setup, but then price just didn't come back down. Kind of wish I had taken the 30-minute. We'll look at euro dollar. I wish I had taken the 30-minute breaker entry on the New York session had yesterday, because it was beautiful. It was absolutely gorgeous. It just didn't get down into the fair value gap, and that's the main reason I didn't take that trade. And we'll talk through that. We talked about it yesterday on the live stream. I can't remember who pointed it out, but I didn't take it because I want to see there was a 30-minute breaker. There was a fair value gap nested inside the breaker. The price didn't come back down into that fair value gap. It only got to the wick of the breaker, and that's a valid entry. I have taken breaker entries before where it just has to come back to the breaker itself and not get to that fair value gap. But my A+ unicorn setup says get inside that breaker and then get your entry. You're going to get a much higher probability win off of that. And that's what I'm most interested in, are the high probability wins. All right, so dollar's just is doing nothing right now. You can see Asia and London, it's done nothing. So you can see on the hourly time frame, we just had sell side delivery. Not one up close candle yesterday after the London session. Just complete collapse of the dollar yesterday. So price is going to want to probably reach back up in here, and maybe NFP gets you a pop, and then you get your displacement back down, and we see how much it wants to use, and does it want to trade all the way back through this weekly fair value gap that we were using a couple weeks ago for phase 1 and phase 2. We'll find out today. Today's going to be a big day, and if not today, we'll find out early next week. So we're just going to stay nimble. We're going to react to price and see what happens, and see if we find a good A+ setup there. So, I don't know if we need to really look at the 30-minute time frame. We can. There's obvious liquidity here for the dollar to reach into, and there's buy side liquidity and there's sell side liquidity all over the place. So we're just going to watch and wait and see what happens with NFP today, and then we'll see if we get any kind of setup to end the week here. Being up 2%, I'm certainly happy just ending the week at 2% in profit, and we still have 5 trading days next week before our first payout. So I'm going to take every A+ setup that forms. I'm not going to stop trading because I'm in profit. This is a game of the next 100 trades. And for your edge to play out. This is about probabilities. It's not about any one or two trades or set of trades. For your probability to play out, because you know what your edge is on your system, it means you have to participate in every event that you can where your A plus setup is present. That's where your edge plays out, and that's where you make profit. If you let A plus setups go by without participating in them, you are lowering your probabilities and your edge to work out. So this is the way casinos, the house makes money in casinos. They are guaranteed to be profitable. It's one of the only businesses where they're guaranteed to be profitable because they have an edge. And they know that over the course of the next 1,000 bets or whatever game these people are playing, they might lose a certain percentage of them, but in the end, statistically, they win. They have a 4% edge, a 4% house edge, a 3% house edge. That's the tight margin that they work on. And for that number to work out, they have to participate in every single wager that takes place. And it's the same because they're not gambling. Casinos are not gambling. Casinos understand statistics and probabilities. And they know math is on their side. Math doesn't lie. Math is math. And so based on statistics and probabilities, they're going to make money. The gamblers are the people that walk in and even with a strict risk management, they're still ultimately going to lose because math is math and math doesn't lie, and math is going to kick their butts, and eventually they're going to walk out with less money. If they just sit there and wager and they have an infinite amount of funds or a very large amount of funds, in the end, they're going to not make money. Break even at best, but probably lose money by in a factor of whatever the house edge is. So I don't stop trading just because I'm in profit. If I see an A plus setup, I'll take it. And if we see one today, we'll take it today. If last week we had every day, 5 days in a row, we had a trade set up. 5 days in a row. This week, I called out on Wednesday. I called out gold and euro. I just accidentally forgot to cancel the euro trade after the gold trade. But that was, in my mind, one trading opportunity. That was a favorable mistake in our favor. It was a mistake that played out in our favor. But one trade on Wednesday, I called out one yesterday to get triggered. And we may not get an entry today at all. We may not even get a setup today. And that's what trading looks like, y'all. And I'm up 2% on those small amount of trades. And I'm perfectly happy and content with that. And next week, we might get 5 more in a row. We might get 5 in a row next week again. Or we might get 1 again. There hasn't, I can't remember the last time there's gone, I'll have to go back and look and see my stats. I'm pretty sure I have taken there's been at least one A plus setup that has formed every single week in the last 3 to 4 months. I don't think in the last 3 to 4 months there's been a week that an A plus setup hasn't formed on any of the pairs that I watch. So between euro, pound, gold, US 30, there has been at least one A plus setup between those 4 pairs that I watch every week. Now you can focus just on one pair, totally fine. But I watch these pairs, and sometimes euro and pound are so correlated with the dollar, but sometimes one of them is stronger or weaker and will give you a run on liquidity that the other one doesn't, and then you get an opportunity. That's why I watch both of those. Gold is just a completely different instrument altogether, and US 30 is an indice. So they're in 4 different markets: a commodity, an index, and then 2 Forex pairs that I watch. And all of them are heavily correlated with the dollar. So those are why I watch. That's why I don't trade GJ. Now you could trade UJ, you could trade UCAD, you could trade Aussie dollar, I don't. It's just at some point for me, it just becomes too much to watch and keep up with. And mistakes are you're more likely to make mistakes like we did on Wednesday when you're watching multiple pairs and trying to time perfect entries on all those multiple pairs. So that's why we don't do it. Hey Sam, welcome in, man. We're just going over some technical analysis. We got about 45 minutes until NFP rolls out. So we're just kind of identifying what's going on. So let's jump over to Euro dollar. Yesterday, here was your beautiful breaker. Let me just talk through the trade that I kind of wish I would have taken. 30-minute time frame. I do take trades on the 30-minute time frame. The higher the time frame, honestly, the higher the time frame, the more probable the setup and the more likely it is to play out. But they take way longer to form. You have to wait a lot longer for them to even form and to get to where you need it to go. And then they take a lot longer to play out typically. And when you get into 30-minute and 1 hour setups and taking trades there, you have the high potential of sitting in a trade overnight, a complete day. And there's just so much that can happen in the markets that I don't want to expose myself to being in the markets that long. I want to find setups and identify draws on liquidity and bias off the higher time frame, but I want to find a 15-minute entry, preferably a 5-minute and 15. It's probably half 15, half 5-minute entries that I'm looking for. But I do take trades on the 30-minute, and this would have been a beautiful 30-minute trade. You have a breaker. Here's your two 30-minute candles that make up the breaker, where you have a run of liquidity right here. All right, it took out old lows and into rebalance. And then you have a strong aggressive move away. So you see it trade through the breaker here. It continues up on the very next candle, and it leaves behind a fair value gap. And then it just keeps running. And there's your fair value gap nested inside of your breaker on the 30-minute time frame. And had price pulled down inside of there, that would have been a beautiful unicorn entry on your breaker, your fair value gap nested inside of your breaker. It just didn't get down inside that fair value gap, but it did touch the very top of this breaker. It came down, hit into the breaker, and then just rejected away violently. Our setup that we had yesterday here that didn't get triggered was a valid setup and a good trade. You have your, let me get back to it over here. You have your 15-minute breaker right here. So here's your 15-minute candle. That was the last up candle before he ran sell side liquidity. And then we had an aggressive move up. It trades through. It leaves behind a fair value gap. Now this fair value gap on the 15-minute time frame, I would have preferred to see this fair value gap more inside the breaker, but this is still part of this fair value gap is still inside of this breaker. And that's why this was a valid setup. It continued to trade through the breaker and continued to move up. So you had an aggressive move away after sell side liquidity. It just did not ever pull back far enough. I set my entry at the bottom of that breaker, which would have been inside, or at the bottom of this fair value gap, which would have been inside the breaker. And then my stop loss would have been underneath this candle and underneath the breaker, the body of this candle. Price just didn't give us a retrace at all. It just continued to run, and it ran through relative equal highs, and it ran back up into the highs here and inside of this. I think this is the volume. This is a fair value gap, a weekly fair value gap. We'll jump up to a higher time frame here and check, but we didn't get that yesterday, but that was our setup. So I can take all this off, take all that off. We can clean up our charts. Let's jump up to our 4-hour time frame here, or the daily time frame on the euro, so we can see why price is reacting where it's reacting. This was our overall objective for price to reach into this daily volume imbalance down here. You can see it reached into it, and price has respected and held it. Sorry, I'm looking at some messages. I have a good friend of mine who is going to have a baby this morning. She went into labor last night, and they've got a C-section scheduled this morning. So I'm just kind of following along in a message thread over here, just kind of seeing how all that's going. So if I get a little distracted, that's why. So anyway, we have now rejected off of that daily volume imbalance. This was yesterday, just a hard run up. We have closed back above this swing high. So here's a swing level is, you don't have a swing level. This is your swing high, and this is your swing high. Okay, so you have on a swing high, you're going to have a lower high on either side of a higher candle. So you have a lower high, a higher high, and then a lower high. So that's your swing level. So we created here's your swing level here. We came down, we created a swing level here, and now we've broken back above that. Be interested to see how the weekly candle prints out and closes out here this week. This big move down was just a retrace of this big weekly push up. We're well inside the OTE area here. And so if the euro wants to turn bullish now and reach back up into this volume imbalance, which it never got to, this could be the area wherein we now return to a bullish euro. And you've got a big volume imbalance up here it could reach into on the weekly time frame. And then you've got that volume imbalance that it never got to up there. Currently, our next level that we'd be interested in watching, I'm going to take this out here. We don't need this. But you've got your next daily draw on liquidity would be at this swing high here. So that's your next daily draw on liquidity. And then you've got a daily draw on liquidity here. There's no fair value gaps inside of here that it needs to necessarily reach up into. There's a little volume imbalance here, but it has already traded through that and come back up, tested it, and fallen away. That could be an area where you might see a reaction, but we're reaching up into this daily order block right now. These two candles together would be a daily order block that created a swing high, and then price displaced down below there. So now price could just be reaching up into this and falling away. And currently that's what it's done. We don't know what this candle is going to look like until the end of the day today. It could very well just reach back down into and retest Wednesday's high here. Could fill in that gap completely, not leave a fair value gap for next week. It could also just shoot up here today and aggressively give us another big candle like we did yesterday. So we'll just have to wait and see. We'll react as it goes. We just want to see a run of liquidity today. I don't necessarily have a super strong bias. I'm probably more long bias. I'm probably more bullish bias overall for euro dollar, pound dollar today, just to finish out the week. But if we get a sharp run up above and then a sharp displacement below, I could easily just, if I see a good A+ setup that gives me a decent 1 to 2 risk reward, I'll take it. That's what we see on euro. So we're just going to look down here on our lower time frames now. You can see big buy side imbalance here, massive upside delivery only. It's engineered liquidity here. So came up, came down. So London, this is what London did for 4 hours, and now this is what we've done for the last 4 hours, and everybody's waiting for the news to come out in about 35 minutes or so. So NFP will get a pop one way or the other. I'm anticipating NFP gives us a pop down and then we get displacement up, or maybe we run liquidity before NFP, right? We could easily just reach down into here in the next 35 minutes, and we'll look on the lower time frames, which what I'm talking about. You could get a run of liquidity before NFP, and then with NFP you get your push up that leaves a breaker behind somewhere. here on the 1 hour, you can see what I'm talking about. Maybe over the next 30 minutes, we run this liquidity. We reach back down into this area, into this 30-minute order block. You've got a huge volume imbalance down here that could be a draw on liquidity today. So we'll just, again, I'm going to stay nimble, and we're going to react to what price is doing as we go. All right. And we'll just wait and see. You can see all the liquidity building up down here. Fair value gap right here, order block, 30-minute order block right here. Could we run down in the next 30 minutes right before NFP into this area and then get a big push up with NFP? Potentially. Let's look at pound. It's basically the same story. It looks almost identical. This was the breaker that had held multiple times before, and it just blew right through it. It grabbed this buy side. There was no real good entry on the pound yesterday like we had on the euro. We were watching it all. This is a 4-hour order block that we're trading inside of right now, and on a higher time frame, you can see we've now had a change of structure on the pound. You have a swing high here that we've traded through. So this is a break of structure because you had this swing high. We traded through and made a new low here. We traded through this low again, and so now we've traded back above this swing level here. So you do have a change of structure here, but you're inside this daily order block currently, and this 4-hour order block inside of this top of this daily order block. So we're just going to watch and wait. It could reach back up inside this daily fair value gap here, which currently is inside of a daily breaker. So you have these two candles are a breaker block. You have this candle, these two candles here that cause a run of liquidity here and then displacement back below. It's not super clean because it didn't continue that strong displacement, but ICT would probably call this a daily breaker. There is a fair value gap nested inside this area. It has tested it once and failed, and it's back up inside that same area again. We do have relative equal highs between the candle on May 16th and today's high right now. So you do have buy side liquidity there. You obviously have a big imbalance from yesterday where price only offered buy side. So you see all of this blue, and there's been no pink. So again, you could see a run of liquidity here either before NFP or NFP, and then it reverses. So you could also see a run of liquidity here and then reverse down. Either way, we're just going to be nimble and watch and wait, see where the liquidity grab is, and then see if we find a good setup to participate in. Someone had a question on gold earlier. Let me go back over here. Steven, the 15-minute candle from 5 o'clock. Do I consider that a breaker? I don't know. Let's look and see. First of all, let's jump up here to our daily time frame on gold, and we'll work our way down. This is a daily breaker. So you had this run down that caused 3 days in a row of aggressive run on stops to all-time heights here. And then you've since seen an aggressive trade back below. So you had 1, 2, 3 candles that traded below it and then continued down, and it has left a fair value gap nested inside of this daily breaker here. Price did return to it, fell away, has returned to it, has since fallen away, grabbed sell side liquidity, and now returned aggressively back up to this daily breaker on gold. So, you've got relative equal highs inside of here on the daily. You have a fair value gap in gold up here. It's already taken out yesterday's high. It's just been bullish all week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So it's just, if you look at the weekly, you can see a massive big blue candle that has taken out last week's low, and it's currently reaching for last week's high. So this is it's reached into this fair value gap, weekly fair value gap right here. It just tapped into it, and you had this aggressive run back up after reaching into this fair value gap there. So gold, man, it's on a tear higher. I would hesitate to try to start fading it right now, but you can see the relative equal highs we have here. And again, on the daily, the fair value gap. Drop down to the 4 hour. You can see the liquidity built up above it. Buy side liquidity. Here's your fair value gap nested inside of the breaker. Perhaps it wants to reach up into there. It dug into it a little bit here and then fell away hard, and it's never come back to it. So that could be a target for today, where we see a reaction off of. This is the buy side liquidity where I was expecting price to turn around, grab this, and then turn around. It did grab it, and it did turn around. I was expecting it to go lower. I was wrong, and it's just run up ever since there. So I'm going to take that off. I'm going to take that off. This daily breaker is the one that I'm probably most, this higher time frame breaker is the one that I'm really watching right now. On the 1 hour, we're just engineering liquidity currently. We're back up inside this daily breaker, and we just have buy side and sell side. Very clear buy side, very clear sell side. And we'll watch and wait how it wants to manipulate these stops, and then try to see where it's going to distribute after it gets manipulation. So this is accumulation. Price is just accumulating. And then we are anticipating some type of manipulation, which will be a liquidity grab. So manipulation is another way to say liquidity grab. So you have accumulation, and then we'll see manipulation either to the upside or downside. And then we'll see a distribution in the direction it really wants to go. US 30 back inside its ugly range. This is our ugly range, all right here. Probably more bullish on indices than I am bearish right now, just because of the risk on nature that I'm anticipating now that the debt ceiling limit has been reached, agreement has been reached. So, oh, I never looked at the 15 minutes. Sorry about that. Let me jump back over here. Sorry, ADD kicking in. You drop down to the 15. Let's drop down to the 15-minute time frame, and let's look and see about the question that Stephen had. So the 5 o'clock 15-minute. No. I would not use that. This whole area here, I want to see manipulation of this entire area. So you can just see it's moving sideways, and it has engineered liquidity, and this is the middle of the range. So you want to see liquidity from the extreme when you're inside a range like this. Oh, this is not a breaker. Now, if price, Stephen, let's say there's no red folder news coming up, right? If this down close candle had produced an aggressive run and clear, yes, there is buy side liquidity here, absolutely, okay, but there's a small amount of buy side liquidity here. But if it had run that, let's say it had run that, and then after it ran this, these two candles here, where my cursor is, I'll zoom in. It's probably small on your screens. So these two candles here would have needed to displace aggressively below here and come back down into this area. And if it had done that, potentially it would have been a breaker. But with NFP coming out, there's absolutely no reason to consider that a breaker. On NFP day, on really any red folder news day, your job is to identify draws on liquidity and then see what happens with that red folder news. Where does the manipulation happen? Where's the liquidity hunt? And then just watch and see if you get displacement away from the liquidity grab after the news hits. That's your whole job as a trader on red folder news days. You're not getting into any positions beforehand, because this is what happens. People are the market is anticipating and just accumulating positions, and everybody's just stacked up inside of here, and they're going to wait for that news to hit. and we'll wait for our reaction off of that. Uh, if the unemployment rate drops, like if it stays at 3.5 or even if it drops back down to like 3.4, it means the economy is still super hot, and it may not be good for the markets. They might think that inflation's still a big deal, and that's going to cause some stress for the Fed to continue to raise interest rates if unemployment stays as low as it has. If we get a little bit of a bump here on the unemployment rate, let's say this is 3.6, 3.7 or whatever, the markets are going to rip up, I think. I don't trade the news. Most of the time news is, I'm wrong on what's going to happen. A lot of times everybody's wrong on what they think is going to happen when the news comes out. It often does the exact opposite of what a lot of people think. So I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm not going to try to predict what these numbers are or what's going to happen. I just know that we have accumulation. We have buy side and sell side liquidity, and we're probably going to get some type of manipulation on one side or the other, and then a run to the opposite side. And that's what I'm waiting for. Because I'm slightly bullish on euro dollar and pound dollar, my preference would be to see price reach into sell side and then displace higher to buy side, and we can try to find a breaker inside of there somewhere to use to find a position today. All right, so we got about 25 minutes until the news comes out. So I need to use the restroom. So I'm going to take just a short little break, get some water, use the restroom, and then I'll be back. Don't go anywhere. You want to stick around for the popcorn show, and we'll see how aggressive this is. But give me just a minute. Let me go take care of some nature calls. I need to go take care of some business before I climb back into my tree stand here and we start hunting trophy bucks. So I'll be right back. And we're back. All right, y'all. We can see prices respecting the liquidity zones it's building up here. I know my dogs are going to come down here in a minute, and they're probably going to come down right when NFP hits because that's what dogs do. What is y'all's bias right now? What are y'all thinking is going to happen? We'll see. Let's get it in the chat. What do you guys think? Which way? What do you think is going to happen? Is price going to drop to sell side and then take out buy side, or is price going to grab buy side and then take out sell side? Is price just going to shoot in one direction and not grab the other side at all? What do y'all think is going to happen? Let's put it in the chat. Let's see what y'all think, and then we'll see who was right in the end. And there's no right or wrong answer here because no one knows what the hell is going to happen. I just want to know, what do y'all think is going to happen? Euro and pound look almost identical. Gold also. Any one of these, which one you can use any one of these, just put it in the chat what you think is going to happen on what pair. And let's see what y'all think. Come on. Let me hear it. Don't be shy. There's no wrong answers. See what the news headlines are here on the Eurodollar. 17 minutes ago, U.S. dollar falls early Friday ahead of May employment report. Stocks gain, dollar tumbles as U.S. averts default and Fed skip bets rise. And dollar pulls back on fiscal deal. Focus shifts to looming jobs report. So yeah, people are thinking that the Fed is not going to give us another 0.25% interest rate hike. They're betting, and the sentiment in the market is that the Fed is going to pause raising interest rates higher than they currently are, that the economy and inflation and all the data says that they don't need to do any more tightening. And so that's why you've seen the dollar pull back here. And you've seen the indexes gain a little bit of ground, the market gain a little ground here. But today's job report will be probably a big factor in how people feel about the next interest rate meeting that's coming out. Xanax, I feel like Euro will grab buy side, reach to the 1 hour fair value gap just below the 50 level fib, as we are currently in a premium in my speculation. Yeah, good call. Good call, man. We are definitely inside of a premium. We're inside of a daily order block. This could just absolutely crap the bed and reverse and give us a bearish close to the week. Absolutely, it could. I'm trying to see the 1 hour fair value gap that you're talking about here. This one or this one? I mean, it's inside that fair value gap right now. Are you talking about this fair value gap? Xanax? That's the only one that I see on my chart that you might be referring to. So yeah, potentially it could reach up in there. It would need to reach up past that for me. I would need to, if I'm anticipating a short, I would want to see price run that pretty hard and then displace quickly back below here, give us a retrace, and that's where our entry would be, somewhere in here. If it pulls here, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Who else? Come on, Xanax can't be the only one, y'all. What do y'all think's going to happen? It's okay. There's no right or wrong answer here. I just want to get some action going over there in the chat. Where do you think it's heading? The price of the fair value gap is between 7211 and 7115. Oh, reach. Oh, so it's going to grab buy side and then reach for this fair value gap. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, if it grabs buy side first, then yes, it's going to target these fair value gaps here, this volume imbalance here, and this fair value gap here. Absolutely. That would be those are good targets and good analysis. And if you're short bias, that's what I would want to see too. You're right in line there. Hey, Mod, good morning. We're just trying to get everybody's opinion here on what they think is going to happen when NFP hits, which side is going to get rated, and then which side is going to get displacement. What's everybody think? Hey, man, we all could be wrong. There's no reason to make that disclaimer. And if it doesn't do that, Xanax, it doesn't mean you were wrong. I mean, it's just your opinion. You're not right or wrong here. Whatever you think, there's a million people out there that think the same thing that you think right now, and then there's a million people on the other side that think the opposite's going to happen. So 072 big figure first and then expand higher. 072, man, that would be a big drop of grabbing liquidity. It could reach down that far. I think if it's gonna reach down low, this order block and this volume imbalance would probably be a quick sharp drop on NFP. Definitely, if I was anticipating something, if I was going to try and find a long today and I'm anticipating euro to be bullish, a run down into this fair value gap and into this 30-minute order block, maybe this volume imbalance, and then you get your sharp retrace back up and you run higher prices today. I don't know that it needs to come all the way down to this fair value gap. It could. It doesn't have to. It already hit the weekly order block. Yes, it did. It did already hit the weekly order block. You are absolutely correct. Hit this weekly order block here and has reversed higher. Now you can see everybody sees what they see, and this is why you have to be pretty clear on your bias and what you want to see happen. Everybody can see something different here, and it's totally fine. Volume imbalance is now on every chart. Yep. All right, we got about 12 minutes. And I'm wondering if in the last 5 minutes or so, if we get a push into sell side, but right before the news hits, you get a push down. But then when the news hits, you get a push up. Who knows? Do not take a trade right now. Resist the urge to gamble. Resist the urge to do anything. If you have a free competition account with some of these firms, they do free competition accounts every month, and you just have this super strong desire to place a trade on NFP and see if you're right, it's a total gamble, but use one of those free competition accounts. Put on whatever their max lot position is in whatever direction you think it's going to go, And because that's how, at the end of the day today, when you go on the leaderboards for those competition accounts, the people that are going to be at the top of the leaderboard are going to be the people that gambled on NFP today and got it right. And the ones that are failing their accounts on those challenges are the ones that took a trade on NFP and they were wrong. So if you have this itch to be a degen trader right now, use a competition account. Do not use your challenge account. Do not use your funded account. That is not professional trading. Trading NFP, you are walking into a casino and putting all your money on red or black, and one of you is going to be right and one of you is going to be wrong. So don't get into a trade right now. We're just here to, it's like we're going to the movies and we're about to watch the show. We're currently watching all the trailers before the show. Boring, boring, boring. Oh, that looks interesting. Maybe that would be a good show. That looks interesting. Maybe I should go see that. Nothing's happening. All right, we're just getting situated. Here we are into the last 9 minutes. Again, I'm wondering if right before news it pushes down here and grabs some of this liquidity, and then when the news hits, if you get a move up. We're just gonna watch and wait. I'm going to watch on the 15-minute time frame here. This is where I'm going to look. Pound has not reached into its liquidity, and gold still in the middle of its range. US 30 on the 15-minute time frame. Market will open at 8:30 and get some kind of reaction. Not interested in US 30. Seven minutes to the fireworks. So many people have limit orders set to trade a breakout here. So many people are going to lose their challenges. You're going to see people posting pictures of trades online where they were right, and they're going to, like, no one's going to post their wrong trade today. But this is the day when everybody gets on Twitter and Instagram and shows you how they made tens of thousands of dollars trading NFP. Don't believe them. And they're idiots for doing it. Absolute idiots. It's not how trading works. All of the prop firms have their copy trading turned off right now. So any prop firm that is copy trading traders, they have software that they can turn on and off to copy their good traders. All of the prop firms have their software turned off. No one is copy trading any trader on any challenge or funded account until probably an hour after the news hits. And most of them may have just turned it off for the rest of the day and through the weekend. So if they all know the right way to manage risk and when not to trade and when to trade, why in the hell do you think someone who can't pass challenges consistently think that you can be right now? It's a complete gamble and a complete waste of time. Don't do it. Unless you have a challenge account that you can throw on a gambling position just to have fun and scratch that itch, do it. But don't do it on your funded account. Don't do it on your challenge. No one should be in any position right now. 5 minutes. 5.5 minutes. Oh. Imagine sitting here by yourself for the last hour and a half, talking to yourself inside of your head quietly, or scrolling Twitter or YouTube or Instagram, or watching a video or reading a book. I mean, like, trading is boring, y'all. Imagine this YouTube channel not being here and you have no community to go sit in, and someone sitting here walking you through every candle that's being printed. Can you handle that? Do you have the temperament and mindset right now to be able to handle that? Quite honestly, if I was not doing this channel and having committed to being on the live stream at 7 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday for the rest of this year, well, as much as physically possible, barring any like vacations or sicknesses that might come up between now and then, I wouldn't even be on the charts until about 15 minutes ago. I would have just been up, watching the sunrise, enjoying some coffee, maybe walk the dog. I wouldn't even be on the charts until about 15 minutes ago. So the last hour and 20 minutes, I would have been doing something else. I wouldn't even have been looking at this. About 3.5 minutes until we get the popcorn. We're going to get some bouncing around here. And until then, we're just waiting. Euro does not look like it wants to grab liquidity before. Pound does not grab liquidity before. Gold has not grabbed liquidity before the news event. Liquidity everywhere. Again, we're just watching and waiting for manipulation, and then to see if we get displacement away from the manipulation. What was something that had the fire in me? Well, I mean, I reached a point where I just got sick and tired of being sick and tired. I reached a point where I just got tired of losing and realized that I was the reason for my continued failure. The fault lay completely at my feet and on my shoulders. And that until I fixed myself and acted like a professional trader, then nothing was going to change. And really, it came down to the why. You know, what is your why? My why is my wife, my family, my future. And the why of I don't want to have to be stuck in a 9 to 5 for the rest of my life. I don't want to have to retire and hope I can outlive whatever measly amount of money I've saved up. I don't want to have to be a burden and stress on my children later in life. You know, all the things. It's just, what's your why? Well, you got to figure it out. That's the fire. The fire was sick and tired of losing. And realizing it wasn't the mentors, it wasn't the private groups, it wasn't the strategy. It was all me. Everything was me. Get sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you finally decide to stop being an idiot. Really. All right, we got a minute left. Just starting to see a little bit quicker movements here. And then the fireworks begin. All right, buckle in. It's going to be a fun show. It's going to take a good 15 to 20 minutes after the news hits before we get a setup formed. So don't worry, we're not going to miss anything. Just watch and wait and think about if you had been in a position, the damage it can do to you. I got 20 seconds here. You guys probably are about on a 10-second delay, so we'll just hang in there together. Here we go. All right, there's your drawn liquidity, gap down. It's running sell side aggressively right now. So unemployment rate is higher than anticipated, and non-farm payrolls were extremely higher. Extremely higher. Wow. They were anticipating 190, and it blew out that expectation hugely, and it came in higher on the unemployment rate too. All right, so we've had our run on sell side liquidity. So what could we anticipate here? We're just going to watch and wait. We're here on the 5-minute time frame. We've ran sell side liquidity. We're going to need to see some displacement above this candle pretty aggressively if we're going to participate on a long position here. We've run sell side liquidity, so now we would want to see displacement away from this run of sell side liquidity. If it just wants to run lower, we may not get a good setup here. Pound, same thing here on the pound dollar. We've run sell side liquidity. We've reached lower, dipped into this fair value gap, and we are not closing super aggressively back above this yet. That may come. Gold, grabbing sell side liquidity as well. So now we watch and wait. You can look at the 1-minute candle here. In 1 minute, it let's see, that was it opened and dropped 25 pips on euro, which is a big move for euro in 1 minute. You can see it's not really wanting to, it didn't just drop and keep dropping and dropping. It dropped, found resistance, pulled back. So I'm wondering what happens here. It's kind of mixed. It's kind of mixed news because you've got your non-farm payrolls, or they just blew it out of the water, but your unemployment rate went up. So I'm not sure how that happens. Your unemployment rate went higher, but your payrolls blew expectations out of the water. So how does that happen? How do you get higher unemployment and a massive growth in payroll? Something does not add up. Maybe I'm reading that wrong, but that seems conflicting to me. Seems conflicting to me. Unemployment rate numbers, I think, can be manipulated pretty well. The non-farm payrolls are the ones that aren't easily manipulated, which would be more of an indicator for me, I think. But again, I don't trade news. I'm just trading price action. Just trading price action. We're about a minute left until this first 5-minute candle closes here. You can see we had a massive run on liquidity here on a 15-minute time frame. We have now accumulated. We have manipulated. Now, do we get distribution? Do we get distribution? Ran right down into that 15-minute order block, filled in that fair value gap. Stephen, you were not right. It did not grab buy side and then reach down into your target area. Steven was the only one I think who was brave enough to put anything in the chat. So kudos to you, Steven. My friend has just gone back into have her C-section. Those things go fast too. Once they start, I mean, that baby's in and out pretty quick. So I may get distracted here for a minute, celebrating some good news with some friends. We'll see. In the meantime, oh, I thought you said buy side and then run down into the. Maybe I misread you. This is kind of what I was anticipating was a run on sell side and then manipulation or distribution higher today to take out some highs, make a new high for the day. I misread what you had said, bro. You were right. All right, we've now seen that pullback here. We're going to need to see a pretty aggressive displacement away from here. So we've had our manipulation. We've had our grabbing of liquidity. Okay. Now we need displacement. That's step 2. Displacement away. Liquidity grab. A move in the opposite, an aggressive move away from the liquidity grab that leaves behind a fair value gap nested inside of a breaker block. Currently, these two 15-minute candles would be your 15-minute breaker block. So if you get displacement above here, and it leaves behind, there's not much room here on the 15-minute time frame to leave behind a fair value gap nested inside, because the top of this candle, right, the top of this candle here would be the bottom of the fair value. If there's going to be a fair value gap right here, because we get displacement higher, this would be the bottom of the fair value gap, if it does indeed create one. So that's not a huge fair value gap displacement inside of there, but we'll see. 5-minute time frame. This would be your breaker, the last up candle before we grab liquidity and then displaced higher. So we shall see. Pound USD. He's saying a 1 hour. Went right to the middle of that fair value gap, ran up higher. Here we go on the 15-minute. Nothing there. 5-minute. Nothing super clear here for me on pound dollar right now. Gold. Grab liquidity. Hasn't moved as high as the other ones yet. US 30 wicked both sides. Euro dollar has currently not displaced higher. There's no real clear fair value gaps anywhere inside of here on the 5-minute or 15-minute for displacement. On Eurodollar, we had relative equal lows on the 15-minute that just got collected. Yes, we did. We did indeed, man. All these relative equal lows got swept, so we have had our liquidity run, and now we're waiting to see if we get displacement. Do we get distribution higher off of this manipulation? Or do we just range around the rest of the day and not get any kind of good, clean price action and just close out the week in a where the news really didn't have a major effect on anything? Quick spike down, but we did not get currently. Well, we did get a quick spike down where pound has gotten a quick spike up. Euro. We didn't displace above. We went above and have come back down. So hard to say. Price is not currently showing a desire to run higher aggressively. On any pair. Yeah, we might see lower prices here. You're definitely not seeing a willingness to do anything, except all it did was grab one side of the liquidity. It left the other side intact, and we've seen no aggressive displacement away after the liquidity grab. Couple minutes here for this 15-minute candle close. The next 15 minutes will probably be my determining factor of what's going to happen and if I'm going to get any kind of sub today. So after this 15-minute candle closes, if the next 15-minute candle for me doesn't displace hard in the opposite direction, then I'll probably just call it for the day, for the weekend, go about my weekend and enjoy my time and be happy with my 2% gain for the week. 15-minute here on Euro. It's closing. Looks like it's going to close bearish. But we'll see. You still have 2 minutes. A lot can happen in the next 2 minutes. The market is still trying to digest, in my mind, what seems to be conflicting news. Where unemployment rate dropped, but non-farm payrolls shot up. So how, I don't understand. Maybe I just don't understand what non-farm payrolls is. But to me, why would an unemployment rate go higher and then non-farm payrolls almost double what the forecast would be? The reason they were expecting unemployment rate to go up and non-farm to go down, then they would be in conjunction with each other. But one of these numbers is not right. One of these numbers is manipulated and one of these numbers is true. That's what it looks like to me. But again, I'm not a news analyst. I'm a price analyst. All right, another minute here before this 15-minute candle closes. It does indeed look like it's going to want to close pretty strong bearish here. Gold is definitely strong bearish. Dollar is rising. With the non-farm payrolls coming in so hot, I would anticipate people thinking, oh, the feds are not going to like that at all. And the chances now for an interest rate hike may have increased slightly, which would be a risk-off scenario for the markets. Indexes are rising. So again, this is what is so stupid about the indexes right now. The indexes are going up and the dollar's going up. They should not be doing that. To have a high probability condition to trade in the S&P, the NAS, the US 30, they should have opposite correlation to the dollar. Let's see. In general, your setups occur on the 15-minute chart, correct? In general, those are the entries that I like to take the best. The setups can occur on a 30-minute time frame or an hour time frame. But in general, I like to take entries on 15-minute, and I like to take entries on 5-minute. Setups can form. My ideal setup would form on a 15-minute. I guess that's the best way to say that. My ideal setup would form on a 15-minute. And if it doesn't form on the 15-minute, I will drop down to a 5-minute to see if there is a clearer breaker with a better fair value gap nested inside of a 5-minute breaker if I can't see one clearly on the 15-minute. 15-minute time frames are great. They're more high probability than a 5-minute time frame for me, and they can still get me in and out within an hour or two if I'm right. And I don't have to sit in a trade all day long or hold it overnight. Definitely not over the weekend. All right, I hear my pups coming downstairs, guys, so you know the drill. I'm going to let them out, let them do their business here for a minute. There's no setups forming. We're just watching price. We still need to see some other things happen. So give me just a minute. Let me let them out and do their business, and then I'll be right back. All right, we're back. Oh, I thought I was back. Here we go. Now we're back. All right, we're just seeing lower prices so far. Euro dollar running lower, pound dollar running lower. Gold definitely running lower. There are no setups that I would be interested in taking here right now. I'm not going to chase price. Dollar is definitely showing some strength here. It has filled in that fair value gap, but has not traded back above this fair value gap yet on the 30-minute time frame. 15-minute time frame, this fair value gap here on the top end has not been traded through. It has reached up into it and currently held it. So we could still see some displacement away from this liquidity grab. And so we'll hang on here for a little while and watch and wait. You now have relative equal lows here on the 15-minute time frame on the pound dollar. You got a relative equal low here, relative equal low here. It did reach into this fair value gap. Has not closed inside of it. This order block is still valid and could hold price up. We'll wait and watch on the euro. Back inside this order block, or this fair value gap is held. It's currently trading back down into it right now. If you see, this could be considered a breaker block, but it wouldn't be a good target to reach for. This was the last down candle before you did grab buy side liquidity, and you failed to make more buy side liquidity, and then you fell away. But there's no entry in here. There's nothing to target in here on a pullback. If I get any kind of pullback, it's going to be displacement higher altogether. So there are no good breaker blocks to use here if you're wanting to see price just drop lower the rest of the day. Currently, there is no setup. There's nothing forming. We're still inside grabbing liquidity here. You're not seeing price just completely collapse after the news. So it could just be reaching for lower prices here to grab more positions to go higher. It also could just be reaching lower all day today. I mean, it could just use the news to pull back and, reject off of this volume imbalance and pull back, and it just it closes where it opens today. Who knows? I'm not here to predict what's going to happen. I'm here to react after it does what it wants to do. So you've had this big pull up. It's now reached back down into this buy side imbalance on the 4-hour time frame. This would be a 4-hour breaker right here. So you have these two 4-hour candles that ran up. You had sell side liquidity get run. You've had displacement through it, leaving a fair value gap nested inside of this 4-hour order block. But for this to play out, it would play out over a 4-hour order block, or a 4-hour breaker block is going to take a couple days to play out, because you would have to, if you were targeting like the 50% area, let's say you were targeting, whoops, that's the wrong tool. This is what I would target. It's about 50% of that breaker. I would have to put my stop probably bare minimum under the breaker, probably under the candle, either under this candle or under this candle here. I'd probably do something like this, and then your target is something like that. So these are 4-hour candles. So think about how long that would take to play out, and we're on Friday. So you would have to hold, if you got triggered in today, you would have to hold all weekend, and then hopefully next week there's no crazy news event over the weekend that when the market opens Sunday night that blows you out of the water. You're exactly right, Xanax. I come into the markets anticipating not trading. When I sat down today to trade, I was assuming I'm not going to place a trade today. That's my assumption when I sit down. I'm not going to take a trade. I'm going to go sit in that tree stand, and if a trophy buck appears, I'm going to take my shot. But I'm assuming a trophy buck is not just going to walk out in front of me every single time I sit down in my tree stand. So that's kind of my approach to the markets, is when it's not clear, you're not doing anything. You're only acting and executing when there is a clear opportunity to get involved in a high probability setup. All right. This is our daily draw on liquidity. Our daily time frame draw on liquidity is up here. These relative equal highs. This weekly volume imbalance is currently being rejected off of. It traded down through, found support, blew through it. We've now come back up into it, and it's now acting as resistance, this weekly volume imbalance. We're going to need to see price displace above it for us to get it involved today on the buy side. Because currently we've had sell side attacked, and it has shown no willingness now after attacking sell side to want to displace away from here. Now maybe at the New York Stock Exchange open, at the 9:30 open here, I'll stay on till then. I'll stay on for another 30 minutes or so. 45 minutes. We'll watch and wait and see what happens at the 9:30 open, and see if we get our displacement higher away from this liquidity grab. Then currently we have nothing. Absolutely nothing. Do you have plans of creating a Discord server? It would be great to bring your community closer. Yeah, maybe. I actually do have my Discord server set up, like the name, and I went ahead and I've locked down my my website name and all that. I don't know what I would ever do with it, but I was like, hey, if I'm going to have this, if something ever developed in the future, I should probably have that stuff locked down and ready to go. Because at the end of the year, if I run this thing to $2 million, I may just quit. I may just stop the YouTube channel. And then all the people that over the course of the next 6 months, whoever is around and stuck around or joined in the middle of it or whatever, it may be good to keep them all together in a different community. So I do have a Discord server. It is up. No one knows about it. No one has been invited to it. Currently, this is the community on the chat here and on Twitter. That's as far as we've gotten. I mean, maybe if there were more than 10 people watching every day, 10 to 15 people watching every day that were active, I might be more inclined to get that going and set up. But it's just one more thing I would have to manage and run and keep up with. And don't currently have an interest to do that. And there's really not a big demand for that right now. I mean, 10 people. I don't want to have a Discord channel for 10 people. Starting a family? Maybe. Who knows? Maybe. I'm checking on my friend over here. No news yet. She should be a mom by now. A mom again. She's already a mom. This would be baby number 2 for her. Kind of waiting and watching my messages over here to see. Waiting for the good news, hopefully. Yeah, starting a Forex family, man. A trading family. That would be cool. I'm down for it. But we need a little bit more momentum here. For phase 1 and phase 2, Corey and Muhammad were basically the only guys in here. And I live streamed to 0 people for several days, and then I live streamed to Corey and Muhammad for about a week, and then over the weekend after I passed phase 2 and got funded, suddenly my Twitter went from 30 followers to 230 followers, and my YouTube went from like 10 subscribers to 125 subscribers. And now we're having about 10 people in here every day, 10 to 15 people watching. But yeah, man, if this thing got up to like where there were 50 or 75 or 100 people watching this every day, I would probably be more willing to set up a Discord where everyone could kind of keep in touch instantly throughout the day. Because Twitter is not a great way to, talk with people and chat and all that whatnot. So, Muhammad's still here. Corey's still here, man. You guys are the OGs. Uh, you will always be the OGs, you guys. So that will hold some weight in the future for you at some point. I don't know what that means, but I will not forget my first two regular viewers. When this thing blows up and my channel has 1,000 subscribers and we've got 300 or 400 people in here watching this every day, I won't forget you guys. Much love. No, I don't know. It probably won't ever get that big. It's too boring, honestly. This is not the kind of trading that attracts people to watch, sadly. This is not the kind of stream that is super entertaining and action-packed, identifying trade setups every single day or multiple trade setups every single day. That's why I don't have high hopes that this thing is going to be ever watched by a bunch of people. People will come in and they're going to watch it and they're going to spend 10 minutes in here and go, well, hell, I'm not going to find a trade with this guy today. And then they leave and they go back to their signal provider who's going to pump out 25 signals a day on 10 different pairs. So Smitty, wish I was here earlier. Well, I mean, dude, don't get upset about not being here earlier. You're going to be here for the next 6 months while we grow this thing to $2 million. So this channel isn't going anywhere. The market's not going anywhere. And we're just getting started, man. We're on literally step 1 of growing this to $2 million. So this is still the beginning stages of the channel. So, but there can only be OGs. Like the guys that were here when there were 0 viewers, those are the true OGs. That's why I call them that. But honestly, all you guys that are here right now, the 10 of you, 12 of you, 15 of you that show up here every day and watch right now, you're still OGs too. And 6 months from now, you guys are the ones that are going to be like, man, we were here when there were 10 people watching this every day. So it's cool. We're still going to get good trade setups. You're still going to get to watch me get a payout and buy another challenge and start over with a new challenge while we're trading a funded account at the exact same time. So don't get worried about that. Xanax, I only just started tuning in when I saw your reply on ICT's funded tweet, and I've been enjoying watching your stream since. Cool, man. Yeah. That weekend, after I got funded, I don't know what the algorithm, I guess the algorithm likes to push certificates and payouts and funded screenshots to people. It knows that those things get lots of likes. And so when I show receipts and when I show validity from payouts and challenges being passed, we got a big bump. So, and I kind of knew when I started this channel, I was talking to my wife. She was like, well, how is this thing going to grow? And I'm like, well, when I prove that I can do what I say I'm doing, when I show people that I'm not an idiot and I can actually trade, more people will want to watch. And so my guess is that as this channel grows, the channels, we're getting some displacement up here now on the 15-minute time frame. That's kind of nice on euro. Pound is pulling back. Dollar, we'll need to see some displacement. We're starting to see some displacement away now from this liquidity grab. So we're going to need to see big displacement away up across this area and hopefully it just runs for the next, the next several 15-minute or 5-minute candles here. We would need to see 2 or 3 15-minute candles with big movement to the upside here before we would get a setup. But I was telling her, yeah, when you show receipts to people and when you can call trades and you put them on Twitter and you're putting them on YouTube and then you post your screenshots and you post your past challenge certificates and whatever, it got bumps. So that last weekend was a huge growth weekend for the channel, for the Twitter. And my guess is after we get a payout and buy another challenge, we'll get another bump. And then after, when we keep adding funds to this thing, and up at the top of the screen here where it says current funding 10,000, when that becomes 110,000, and then that becomes 410,000, that's when people are going to want to tune in more and be like, oh, well, maybe there's something going on over here. You never know. You'd be surprised. Trade by Matt does trading streams and has been killing it. Yeah, I've watched Trade by Matt. He's a good streamer, and he only streams for about an hour a day or so. And but he is actively trading. You know what I mean? Like, he's in there every day. He's going to take multiple positions in a trading session based on his strategy. And that's why people like watching him, because they know every day they're going to tune in, they're going to get to watch his profit and loss go up and down based on his impulse decisions a lot of times in getting in and out of trades. So yeah, I mean, there are streamers out there that people like to tune in and watch, and they'll get 400, 500, 600, 1,000 people tuning in to watch them live stream. But usually that's because they're actively trading during that session. And this is, I don't know, this is day 5 plus the third. So this is day 18. And in 18 days, we have taken 13 trades. So there's multiple days where nothing happens on the live stream. And then after the live stream, a setup will form, and I'll call it out on Twitter. There's only been a few days that I've been streaming where we actually get live setups on the stream and they play out on the stream. And that's just not entertaining. I'm not doing this to entertain. I'm doing this to educate. And so that's why I think that this channel will probably be slow going until we start trading high 6 figures. I don't think a lot of people are going to stick around and want to watch how to actually do that and what it takes to actually do that. Maverick K, can you go over your plan again? Are you going to get a payout then buy a larger account? Thanks. Muhammad, movement on Euro. Yeah, man, I'm glad I flipped back over to see that. Yep, there is some movement on Euro. There is, what happened to, pound? We got movement on pound. We're getting some movement back up. The dollar is collapsing. So yeah, we may be getting a trade set up here today, guys. We're going to need some, again, some displacement up above this 5-minute candle, and on the 15-minute, these two 15-minute candles, we're going to need some displacement above that. And here on pound, similar, these two 15-minute candles, these two 5-minute candles are what we're going to need to see some displacement on here. But it's trending in the right direction currently, so we're just going to watch and wait. We've got probably 15 minutes before a setup forms, because you're going to need to see, like on a 15-minute, you're going to need to see this 15-minute candle close up, the next 15-minute candle close up, leaving behind a fair value gap, and then another 15-minute candle to get into an entry. So on the 15-minute time frame, you've got several things that need to happen. So we're not in a rush here, but things are, you did get your liquidity grab, and now you're seeing some aggressive move back up away from that liquidity grab. We're going to need to see continuation on this liquidity, on this displacement away, and we don't have that yet. So just be patient. That's the name of the game. As always, we're sitting in our tree stand. We've seen the buck in the woods, but he has not given us a shot to take yet, so to speak, right? So we're in our tree stand, we're hunting, we're stalking, we're being patient, we're being quiet. And we can see the buck, we know he's out there, and we can see him through the branches and the leaves and the trees. And we just need him to make an appearance. Maverick, I'll go over that in a minute. I'm not ignoring your question. I will talk through the plan. The whole reason I do stick around is because of your patience in taking so little trades. To me, that's what the pros do and what is realistic, really like extremes. Thanks, Jordy. And you are correct. That is what real traders do. That is what professional traders do. This is how professional traders trade the markets every day. They do not trade. Being a day trader does not mean you trade every day. It means you come in with the anticipation of, I'm here to protect my capital, and I'm probably not going to take a trade today, and I'm okay with that. If price closes above the 15-minute high, bullish bias. Absolutely. We need a close above here, a displaced close, not just a close. I want to see a displacement close above there. And now we're getting some rejection off of this 15-minute order block. So this is a bearish order block that it is a fair value gap. It has traded back up into this fair value gap, and it's rejecting off of this 15-minute order block. So this fair value gap could hold price lower. And what may happen is a bear trap here where bears are going to pile in off of this order block, send price lower one more time before you get your displacement. Doesn't have to. A close above this fair value gap here in the next 4 minutes would be a stronger signal for me that price is going to displace higher after this. But again, we're just watching and waiting. I know what I want to see happen, and if I see it, I'll participate. If I don't see it, I'll pack up my gun and go enjoy my weekend. So the plan again, Maverick, for this, what we're going to do is trade. So it started with a 10K account. I bought a 10K account with Bespoke Funding. And the goal was to pass phase 1, pass phase 2, get funded, and then use the profits from that 10K funded account, which we are now trading live. Whatever profit split I get next Sunday, June 11th, is my first profit split. And I may do a live stream actually on that Sunday. Just a quick little live stream to show the payout process and walk everybody through that. I may just put it on Twitter. I'm not sure yet. But we'll use whatever profit split is available to us to buy the biggest challenge that we can above us. If all we can do is buy it, if all I will get 100% refund. I may actually get 150% refund. They were running a discount. I need to go back and look. It may be 150% refund. Hold on. I think I have. Let me check that real quick because I need to know that. Where's my... I should have taken a screenshot. I was in a Discord with the CEO of Bespoke. Give me a second, guys. I'm just trying to see if I still have that. Open a ticket. Maybe they closed. It was on a ticket, and I think they closed the ticket. I don't remember. I know it's going to be 100% refund for sure, whatever that payout is. I think it might be 150%, which would be awesome. So whatever profit split I can get next week will include that refund. And so with those funds, I will buy whatever the largest challenge is available with those funds. So if it's a 50K, if it's 100K, I believe 100K is $430 with Bespoke. Let me pull it up real quick. Their classic challenge, a 50K is $329. 100K is $529. So I've already spent $110 So if I get that back, plus I'm currently at 2%, let's say I don't make any more profit between now and next week. Let's say I just end at 2% in profit. I get an 85% profit split off of that. So that would be $187 plus my refund would be around $300. So to buy a 50K, I would need $329. Their 25K is $239. Their 100K is $529. So if we could get another winner between now and next week, and we could get up to 6%, that would be $600, and I get 85% profit split. That would be $510 plus the refund would be over $600, and I would be able to buy a 100K challenge. So if that happens, that's what we'll do. But that's the plan, is just to buy, and I'll show you here. I can put this up on the screen here. So here's Bespoke Funding Program. This is where we started, $129. They were running a discount, so I didn't pay $129. I think I paid like $110, maybe something like that, with the discount code that I used to purchase. So they have a discount code. I think it's 12.5% off for the month of June. They're running right now, I think. Let me pull up their Discord here. And by the way, just so you actually know, I do have a Venator trading channel here. So here's my Discord app. So I do have a Venator trading channel. I've got it set up. I just haven't invited anyone to it. I've just built it out. But Bespoke Funding, let's look at what if you're not in their Discord, I would you can go get in it. They're active in there. Their CEO is active in there. They've got all kinds of stuff going on. You can put in suggestions, trade ideas, blah, blah, blah. All right. Their current promotions, 12.5% off plus 130% refund. This expires June 14th. So my payout is June 11th. So I will be able to take advantage of this discount for whatever account I can purchase if I do indeed get a profit split next week. There's no guarantee I do. I could take a trade next week and lose and be back to break even. But whatever profit split we do get, I'll use whatever discount code in line with that as well. So that will take down the price a little bit. So there's their 10K, 25K is 230, 50K, 100K, 200, 300, and 400. All right. So if I could get to a 50 or 100K and pass that challenge and get funded and get to a payout, the payouts from these accounts are what's going to get us our rapid growth into these larger six-figure accounts up here. So this is where we're at. We're on this account. We'll use profits on this to leapfrog up into here, hopefully. One of these two, hopefully. And then we'll use the profit splits from these to leapfrog up into here. And then we'll obviously use these profits to just keep adding these positions until we max out funding. So that's the plan, Max. That is the plan. We have about 10 more minutes here until the 9:30 market open for the indexes. And we're approaching kind of the end of the kill zone hour for Forex. So we're not getting the displacement currently that we would have wanted to see after that news drop. We had a quick reaction, but then we did not get the violent displacement away that we would want to see after a liquidity grab. So that's fine. We may not just get our setup today. Completely okay. At 9:30, if this opens and runs up high, then maybe we see something. Till then, we're just watching and waiting, man. Killing time. Me trying to think about what to talk about for 2 hours every day. On the Twitter, the guys that I follow, there's a big Forex summit or something happening in is it in Miami coming up this summer? When you buy another challenge, do you have to pass the phases? Yeah. So when this 10K, when I take a profit split off of this 10K account, I still keep this 10K account. It's a live 10K account, and I'll keep trading. In fact, I will use this 10K account as my master account to copy trades to the other larger accounts. And this is what I would recommend anyone that's doing this also do, because trading on a 10K account emotionally and mentally is just easier to deal with than when you're not used to seeing massive numbers go up and down on a 100K account or a 400K account or a $1 million account. Okay. When you're just trading off of a 10K account and you're risking $100, you're risking $200 at a time. It just makes everything way easier mentally and emotionally to deal with. So I'll buy a challenge. I will use a software called Social Trader Tools. Let me see if I can pull that up. This is the platform that I use to copy trade. Right here, Social Trader Tools. This is what I use to copy my trades. It's MT5 as well. I know it says MT4, but it's MT5. But it's a cloud-based trade copier. So I'll put in my master 10K account. This account that I'm trading right here will be my master account. And then I will add a account to copy the trades from this 10K account on Social Trader Tools. It'll all be set up. It's basically instantaneous. When I set limit orders on my 10K account, it sets limit orders on every other account that I have copying that master account. And so, yes, I have to pass phase 1 and phase 2 of the next challenge. So when I buy whatever challenge I buy next, I'll have to reach 8% profit target for phase 1. And then I'll go to phase 2 and have to reach 5% profit target. And I will use my funded account, my 10K funded account, to use those trades to pass my next challenge. And so that's why I'll still be making profit splits every 14 days on this 10K funded account. So while I'm trading another challenge, I'll be still making profits on this 10K account. And if I can pass that challenge, that means I will have made 8% on my 10K account, which then I can use that profit split to buy another challenge. And now you can see I'll be trading a funded account. I'll be trading maybe like a phase 2 on one challenge, and I will have, because with another profit split, I'll then buy another challenge and I'll start a phase 1 again. So my goal is always going to be trying to make 8% on this 10K account, because I'm always going to have a challenge that's in a phase 1 at some point. So if I can continually make 8% on this 10K account, and none of these challenges have time limits, by the way. Okay. So It doesn't mean that every payout, every 14 days, I'm going to make 8%. There's no guarantee of that. It may take me 3 weeks to make 8%. It may take a month to make 8% on that 10K account to pass phase one, right? But that's kind of that's the plan here, is use my 10K funded account as my master copier, use the profit splits to buy higher funded challenges, pass those, and then just keep snowballing this thing until we get to $2 million. That's the plan, Maverick, and anybody else that's not familiar with what we're trying to do here. That's how we're going to get to $2 million funding by the end of this year. So just imagine with me, right? So if you, we start with a 10K account, right? We get, let's say the highest we can get is 50K on this next profit split. Okay. Now we're trading $60,000 in capital, right? $60,000 in capital on 5% is, what's that, $3,000? I need to find my, I need to get my calculator. I'm trying to do math in my head. So if we're trading $60,000 and we can make 5%, now it's $3,000. So on $60,000 account, we have $3,000. We could buy a $400,000 account. Okay. So $3,000 profit for 5%, right? That allows us to buy a 400K account. Almost two, but for sure one 400K account. Now, after those challenges are passed, you're trading 460K and a 5% profit split. Whoops. It's $23,000. So that's 23K, 5%. I could buy all of the other accounts that I needed to max out $2 million. That's how we can do this by the end of 2023. Okay. So from there, you would just buy out $1 million in funding, or $1.5 million. So that'd be like 4, 8, 12. So you'd probably buy like 3 400K accounts. So you would buy 3x 400K accounts at that point. You could buy 5, maybe. I don't know what the math is. Maybe it's 4 400K accounts at once. That's 1,800 times 4 is $7,200 out of that $23,000 profit. Would buy you 4. I know I'm just rambling here, but we're just watching price. I see price moving. Don't worry about that, guys. I know it's running up there, but we still don't have a setup. 460 plus 1.6 million. Is 2 million. So you have, this is step 2. This would be your step 3. And then this would be step 4 to reach max funding. All right. Whoops. Get rid of that. So we're on our 10K. We're going to use profits to maybe buy a 50K. If we can get a profit split off of that 60K amount, we could buy at least one 400K account And then off of those combined accounts, we could potentially get, this is just all theoretical, but this is how you play the numbers game. This is my plan to do what I say I'm going to do, right? So buy a 400K and then one big profit split off that, you would buy the remainder of the accounts that you need to max out $2 million in funding. So it's going to take me about 1 month to get here, right? And so if I can stay consistent and within every 4 to 5 weeks get another step, you can see that by the end of 2023, we could very well be exactly where we want to be. All right, we're into our 9:30 hour here. We're starting to get some displacement above our area here. So we do have a 5-minute breaker showing up. We do have displacement away. We do currently have a fair value gap nested inside. On the 15-minute time frame, I'm going to kind of want to see this 15-minute candle move up here and close higher and leave this fair value gap behind inside this breaker. Pound doing something similar. I don't like that the fair value gap is above the breaker on the 15-minute time frame there, but you do have a nice fair value gap inside these breakers here. So this fair value gap right in here on the pound dollar is actually a really pretty setup. I'm really liking that. You have these two breakers up, grab liquidity. We're displacing above it. It's leaving behind a fair value gap right there. I don't want to see this candle run back into here right now. I want to see this candle close where it's at or a little bit higher. And if it does, then I'd probably want to trade the pound here, I think. The dollar is not displacing down lower. It is breaking, but it hasn't. Again, we don't have a continued displacement lower yet. We need to see this current candle on the 15-minute time frame break. Like I would want to see it close back and leave this fair value gap here. And that's what we could target for an entry. But I do like this setup right here. And I would be looking at an entry potentially like this right here. I think I would do just below that wick right there. So maybe 9 pips. And we would be looking at something like this. I don't want to see this candle close back. I'm just getting this set up. This is not a trade alert. This is not anything like that. This is just, I'm anticipating what might be happening here. I am going to get some stuff set up over here on, whoa. Nothing happening yet, guys. Don't worry. I'll let you know if I decide to place an order here. Euro dollar is displacing above. This is your breaker candle here. Right here, sorry, this one right here. This is your breaker. On euro, 5-minute breaker. Fair value gap inside. I would want to see. I'd want to see probably something like this. That's what I would be anticipating on the euro, and I don't like that the pound is not moving back up higher right there. I like that the euro did move up higher. I think I like the euro position a little bit better now based on that. So I'm going to set this trade up on euro dollar. Come on, here we go. My stop will be below there. My entry is going to be halfway down inside that fair value gap with my TP. Okay, so I'm going to set a buy limit order right here. Trade has been, or the order has been set, and my numbers are 07632 is an entry price. 07632. My stop is 07540. And my TP 07825. Our trade is set up. And I'm going to take a screenshot of this, and I'm going to put this on the Twitter real quick. One 07632. Looks like we're about to get triggered in, actually. Entry, stop loss 07540. TP 07825, and we're triggered in. It's reaching down into that fair value gap on this 5-minute time frame right here. Reach down into about 50% of that breaker block on the 5-minute time frame. I've accepted the loss. As soon as I place this trade and I set my limit orders, I've accepted the loss. Okay, like I don't feel anything right now. I'm not worried that it's in drawdown. I'm not fretting about anything. Like if I take a loss, I take a loss, because this is a good setup. We had displacement away. We had 3 consecutive candles. We left behind a fair value gap. This is a good setup, man. Like the trophy buck walked out, and I'm going to take my shot. And if it moves away from here and hits our take profit, great. Or if we can even just get to break even, we're at 9.8 pips for a stop loss. So for us to get to break even, I need to get 1.5 R. So we need to get 14.7 pips, which would be, it would be up here at these highs. So if we can get back up here to these highs before our stop loss gets hit, we would move to break even up here around these highs. But if it just comes down and slaps our stop loss, that's what it does. I mean, this is the nature of trading. We just let it ride, man. We're playing our probabilities. We know I know my A+ setup. This is an A+ setup. I like this setup. It's a good setup. If it comes down and slaps our stop loss, it does. Don't care. I would rather be wrong very quickly. Okay? I would rather be wrong very quickly. I want to find out that I'm wrong quick. So get in, tag me in, and run my stop loss if that's what you want to do. Totally fine with that. We are. I feel nothing. Honestly, guys, this is what I want you guys to see is trade management and psychology when you're in a trade. Not fretting, not worrying, not caring. And if we hit a stop loss, I'm back at break even for my funded account. So I don't care. I don't care what happens. Dollar's pushing back higher. That's why EU is stalling out right now. Hey, Non, welcome in, man. Dollar's definitely showing strength here. And again, the reason I'm not worried about any one trade is because I'm more worried about the next 100 trades that I take. And I know that I have a little bit better than a 50% win rate. And one loss gets completely eaten up and back into profits on the next win. Like what happened earlier this week. We took a loss and we had a win that evaporated that loss and put us back into profit. And now we're in profit and we're taking a position, we're taking a trade. And if it works out, it works out. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. No big deal. Don't care. I will be, let's see, if I take a loss here, it'll be $199.64. I might actually still slightly be in profit after this. If it does hit the stop loss. I'd rather it start moving away from this fair value gap. If it closes underneath that fair value gap, there's another small one right here that it could find some support off of. But my preference is that it's dug deep quickly back into that fair value gap, and it did not get a strong aggressive move higher. And so I'm more inclined to think that our stop loss is in jeopardy more than I am to think that we're going to be able to get to break even at least here. But we'll see. I don't move my stop loss. I don't care if again, this is the setup that I wanted to see. I wanted to see displacement. I wanted to see liquidity grab, and I wanted to see displacement above a breaker, leaving behind a nested fair value gap inside that breaker. if it hits my stop loss and I go back and evaluate this, I can tell you probably my evaluation would be not waiting for, if it does hit my stop loss, is it could have been a higher probability setup if we had waited for the 15-minute to continue to run higher. You can see pound is moving higher. %50 win rate, 100% face 4 consecutive losing trades. Yeah, so the way I manage my any losing streaks are I would have to hit 10% drawdown, and that would give me I would have to lose 5 in a row at a full 2% max risk on my trade, right? I would have to lose 5 in a row. And it does look like our Eurodollar trade here is going to get slapped. I would have to lose 5 in a row to lose the funded account to go to 10% drawdown. And if that happens, if I lose 4 in a row, that would put me in 8% drawdown. I would reduce my risk if I lost 4 in a row. Or let me just say, if I got within 8% drawdown, if I go into 8% drawdown, and there's our stop loss getting tagged right there. If I lose 4 in a row, or if I get into 8% drawdown, then I would reduce my risk down to 1%. And that would give me 2 more opportunities to lose. I have not lost. I can't remember the last time I've lost 4 in a row. Let me screenshot that, put that up there on the tweets. Let's see, we're $6.25 in profit. So our account balance is, I'll update my stats here in just a second. But after that loss, we are $10,006.25 is where our account balance stands. Here we go. All right. All right. So the good thing about that is now I know I'm done for the day. Like, it's over. I sat in my tree. I waited for my buck to come out. I took my shot and I missed. And that's fine. It's not a problem. I find a winner next week. Be patient, wait, watch. So if I was going to reevaluate this, I would probably say I should have waited until that 15-minute candle actually did follow through. This is why 15-minute is probably my bread and butter setup for finding entries, because you just get a clear break of structure, and we did not get that on the 15-minute. We did get it on the 5-minute, and we aggressively went in anticipating a run of the buy side liquidity, and I'm totally fine with that. I like that analysis. That's a fair, valid analysis. We had a run of liquidity, we displaced higher, we left a fair value gap nested inside of a 5-minute breaker block. I have absolutely no problem taking that trade, none whatsoever, and it just did not work out, and we took our loss. So that happens, and I hope that you hear and see this is how you manage a loss. You don't. it's nothing. It's just a loss. And because I know what kind of trader I am and I know what my system produces, that we'll be fine. We're not in any danger here. So, what's going on in here? Looking on dollar for your analysis. Yes, I use the dollar, the DXY, to correlate and help me understand if where the dollar might want to reach is going to help me understand where euro and pound are also going to want to reach. So we didn't take that trade. I'm going to take it off. Move that out because we're still inside this 4-hour order block there. This volume imbalance is showing quite a bit of resistance for the euro dollar currently. And we might see a little bit of a dollar rally here. Or we could just see it do a whole lot more of nothing. I promise you there were a lot of people who were expecting this sell side to get run after we saw this break of structure here in that fair value gap. There's a lot of people that took that trade with us. This pound trade right here, there are people that took that, and then there are people that took the same exact euro trade that we were in as well. It is a valid setup, and it just didn't work out today. So that's cool. So we'll be done for the day now. We took our loss. It was a 2% risk, and we took it on the chin. So let me update my stats here. So we are now 2 losses, and the account is at 0.0625. All right. So that's where we stand after week 1 of trading our 10K funded account. 1 win and 2 losses, and we're still in profit. So that's I love 1-to-2 risk reward ratio and 50% win rates, man. That is where that's what it's all about. We take very few trades, and we'll be back at it again on Monday. If you are watching, if you would please like this video, I would appreciate it. It does help boost the algorithm sees those and it's like, oh, well, if they like it, then other people that watch similar content might like it too, and get more exposure to other people to come in and see how we can grow this to 2 million in funding by the end of the year. So that's what happened today. I appreciate you guys watching. It was fun hanging out with you all week. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. We will be back live on Monday at 7 a.m. Eastern. And we'll be trading all week next week. See if we can pull down a couple winners and get to a profit split next weekend. So enjoy your weekend, guys, and we'll see you back on Monday. Later.